Tonight and tomorrow night, a series of blockbuster quarter-final matches in the Champions League will take place. Matchups like Real versus Bayern Munich, Barca versus Atletico, and PSG versus Liverpool are games no football fan wants to miss. However, many fans are joking that they might actually turn off their TVs early and go to sleep just to save energy for an even bigger super clash. The match between the United States and Iran in the so-called V-League of Trash Talk. According to representatives from both sides, if nothing changes, this super match is scheduled for 8 p.m. on April 7 U.S. time, supposedly taking place in Tehran. On the U.S. side, head coach Donald Trump has clearly set the time and location. His deadline for Iran to agree to a ceasefire is exactly 8 p.m. on April 7. Meanwhile, Iran is responding just as aggressively, saying Trump has only 20 hours left to surrender. Otherwise, his allies will be sent back to the Stone Age. Iran insists it will not back down. To make things even more dramatic, Trump also made strong statements ahead of this match, claiming the U.S. could destroy all of Iran's power plants within 4 hours and wipe out the entire country overnight, possibly on April 7th itself. These statements show that neither side is willing to back down anymore. The question is whether this ultimatum from Trump will finally be the last one. Supporters of the U.S. believe Iran is just bluffing, talking tough, but acting the opposite. As evidence, Iran's deputy minister recently called on citizens to form human shields around power plants. He posted on social media, urging young people, artists, athletes, and citizens to gather nationwide, hold hands, and protect critical infrastructure, declaring that attacking civilian infrastructure is a war crime. This move is seen by some as a sign of Iran's desperation. If their defense systems were truly strong, why would civilians be asked to stand guard? The sarcastic take is, stand close together and missiles will miss. And if they don't miss, then Iran can accuse the U.S. of targeting civilians. Another confusing point is that Iran reportedly shut down the internet for 37 days, yet its leaders are still posting on X, Twitter, to call for unity and resistance. That raises the question, if people inside Iran have no internet, how are they supposed to even see these messages? That's seen as the first sign of internal difficulty. The second is leadership losses. According to claims, another Iranian general was killed recently, bringing the total to over 100 generals lost. Israeli intelligence has even suggested that Iran's supreme leader may be in a coma and unable to govern, noting that he hasn't appeared publicly for weeks. Of course, this is still one-sided information and not confirmed, but the absence of public appearances has fueled suspicion. Iranian media has also faced credibility issues before sometimes making claims that later turned out inaccurate. For example, Iran claimed to shoot down multiple U.S. aircraft during rescue missions. But logically, if that were true, where are the pilots? Were they captured? And why are the wreckage sites completely destroyed instead of preserved as evidence? Some argue that the U.S. likely destroyed its own stranded aircraft to prevent sensitive technology from falling into enemy hands. All of this suggests that Iran may be exaggerating achievements to maintain morale. If they were truly dominant, they wouldn't need to boast, let their opponent confirm it instead. That's the situation on Iran's side before this super match. But the U.S. isn't in a perfect position either. Trump himself admitted that an F-15 Eagle was shot down by a shoulder-fired missile. That raises serious questions. If such basic weapons can down advanced jets, how sustainable is a prolonged war? Iran's arsenal of portable missiles is highly diverse, ranging from Soviet-era to Russian and domestically produced systems. Even if it sounds unlikely that Iran could defeat the U.S. this way, the cost imposed on the U.S. is clearly significant. That cost is exactly what gives Trump a headache, and that's why many people hope both sides will reach an agreement soon so neither has to keep spending resources. Because right now, even just threats from the US are enough to push oil prices up to $116 per barrel. At that level, global business suffers. It would be far better if both sides sat down to negotiate and cooperate economically. As it stands, the US panics over losing one pilot, spending hundreds of millions to recover him. Iran is losing large numbers of leadership figures. Some people even joke that Iran might soon have to hire leaders by the hour, or draw lots to decide who takes command next. Even Israel's prime minister has posted sarcastic content online about the situation. In the end, everyone just hopes both the United States and Iran will come to their senses and sit down for negotiations, because continued conflict benefits no one. But how can they calm down when both sides have huge egos and zero trust? Well, that's the hardest part.